daring architectural gem derived its rather unusual design from the many tall ships and sailing vessels that passed through these waters a few hundred years ago. But today it's the international symbol for this planet's smallest continent and the country with the world's longest coastline. G'day mates, I'm Angelo Viola. Today's Outdoor Journal takes you down under to the exciting and unusual country of Australia. Behind me is the spectacular Sydney Harbour. There's a place not far from here called Botany Bay, where in 1770, British navigator Captain James Cook made his first discovery and claim to this extraordinary land. He called it New South Wales, and as it turned out, it would be the last continent to ever be discovered. Now, even though the city of Sydney didn't exactly start with a glamorous beginning, you see, the British used it as a penal colony initially. Today, it's one of the most vibrant, cosmopolitan metro centers in the world. This booming city, with a population of almost 4 million, represents more than a quarter of Australia's total population of 18 million. It offers up everything you would expect in a world-class city, from opera to a modern botanical garden. It's quite a change since the first days of colonization almost a quarter of a century ago. It's estimated there were only some 300,000 Aboriginal people at that time. As an island continent, Australia was able to preserve much of its uniqueness. Prior to modern transportation, Australia was isolated by thousands of miles of water for millions of years. Hence, there's a close connection with a primitive past. The land down under is home to some of the strangest plants and animals you'll ever see on the planet. In fact, when scientists first saw some of these creatures, they considered them fakes and actually rejected them. Even though Australia is a continent about the size of the US, many of its ancient wonders are within a short drive from the city. Inasmuch as Sydney represents possibly one of the most modern contemporary cities on the planet today, this part of Australia is a totally different ballgame. In fact, it's almost a throwback to prehistoric times. And my guide through this wild land is going to be Don Rosenfeld of Australia Eco Adventures.
G'day mate, welcome to Sydney, Australia.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did. You got it dead right.
This is a wild country.
Yeah.
What really amazes me about this particular spot we're in right now is that we're, 20 minutes away from downtown Sydney.
That's right. And I mean, yeah, that's one of the things that when we bring people here, they say 20 minutes out of town and you've got a wilderness area. And that's what this is. This is just what the English found when they came to Australia a bit over 200 years ago.
Yeah, this was the first place that they landed?
Yeah, in Sydney. Yep.
Wow. Now, what's this called where we are?
We're in Ku-ring-gai National Park. Okay. And Ku-ring-gai National Park is about a bit over 30,000 acres in size, so it's a good chunk of land.
Yep.
And here is where the Ku-ring-gai Aboriginal people lived. This is right through all of these areas, and we'll be going along some of their trails. We'll be seeing some of their art that they carved in rocks. We'll be seeing some of it that's been painted on rocks using ochres. And we'll be going and seeing quite a diverse range of vegetation, including open woodland, rainforests.
Fantastic. Yeah. Traditionally, you would associate Australia with scorching hot temperatures of 100+ degrees Fahrenheit. That makes it a little difficult if you go on the type of trip that Don and I are about to leave on. One of the best times to do this is during the winter or spring season like we're doing it.
Oh, absolutely. Beautiful time of year to be here.
A little more moderate.
Yeah.
The dounside to that is that you may have a little bit of precipitation like we're going to have throughout today's program, but it certainly makes it for a much more comfortable outing.
Yeah, we won't be working up a sweat on what we're going to be doing. It'll be very comfortable.
I don't know, just listening to what you were saying we're going to cover, I will definitely be breaking into sweat.
We'll be going along a few trails, but
are most of them trails, or are we going to be going through the bush in some cases?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Fabulous.
We'll discover some of the very remote areas that are only within, maximum we'll be going is within 2 hours of Sydney, so it's all around here.
Well, Don and I get ready for our walkabout. Why don't you have a look at this week's Surviving the Outdoors and catch up with us a little later.
Yeah.
What do you think, buddy?
I thought I knew this place. Hi, folks. Looks like I'm a little disoriented, but I am prepared. Before I came into the park today, I took the bearings of the entrance, and I know the entrance is 240 degrees to the west. So, with the help of my compass, I'll find my way out of here. Now, before I can line everything up and know exactly which way to go, I have to take magnetic north into account, because magnetic north and true north are two different things. The compass aligns itself with the magnetic flow of the Earth. This flow goes towards the North Magnetic Pole in Canada, which is actually 1,200 miles southwest of the North Pole. This means, depending on where you are in North America, your compass will not point true north and can actually put you off course by as much as 30 degrees. This difference is called a declination or variation. Magnetic north is usually pointed out on most maps, and I know for where I am today, true north is 10 degrees west of magnetic north. Now, the orienteering needle is set for 240 degrees to the west where the entrance is. So I just have to line it up to magnetic north and know that I'm walking in that direction. So I'm just going to pick a landmark and walk towards it, and when I get there, I'll set my bearings again. So while I do that, we'll go over the parts of the compass. The standard compass is known as the orienteering compass. It has a transparent base plate for visibility over maps, a round mount marked with north, south, east, west with degrees, an orienteering arrow fixed on north, and a magnetic needle based on the mount, which is rotatable, an arrow pointing in the direction of travel, and the rest of the compass consists of scales for measuring distance on maps. Uh-oh. Now I know I'm going in the right direction, but look what I've got to cross. Well, it's too dangerous to cross here. So what I've got to do is pick a landmark, and I'll use that dead tree right there. I'll cross the stream where it's a little easier to get across, come back upstream, and that should be easy to find. And once I find that, I know the entrance to the park is just over there. So thanks to my trusty compass, I'm home free.
Coming up, scenes of Australia that will literally rock you. And now, back to the Outdoor Journal. A rock by any other name is just a rock. But not so for the Aborigines of Australia, who started to inhabit this island some 40,000 years ago. For them, these rocks tell the tales of life and creation itself.
I think you'll be impressed by this little rock.
Nice place to get out of the rain, too.
It is. It's a good little shelter. Just another thing I'd like to show you, Ange, if you have a look at this rock up here, Aboriginal people saw different things in rocks. And this rock here, I mean, they can see an eye in the top of it there, and they probably had a story about exactly what that rock was, and that would have been quite a significant thing to them.
So all these rocks meant something? They were signs?
Yeah. Yeah, well, more so than signs, they were a spiritual meaning quite often.
Yeah.
And to individual people in a tribe, a rock may be a very significant thing to them.
Yeah.
They had their totems, which generally were animals in this area.
Yeah.
But rocks had a very special meaning to them.
Well, I can see why, because even now, they are overwhelming for sure.
Absolutely.
Just fantastic.
The Aboriginals, you know, see this as a very special area for the Guringai.
Yeah, basically, they're saying it was always this way.
That's right. If you take it purely from an Aboriginal point of view, Biami and the rainbow serpent actually made it this way. However, from a geological point of view, there's been some movement. These have dropped away off here, as maybe there's been a lot of water movement from time to time underneath the rocks.
Like that? I mean, do you think that's always been like that?
Well, you know, a geologist is going to look at it practically and say that's erosion.
Of course.
However, Aboriginals will say that that's got a specific meaning.
Can we go over there?
Yeah, let's go and have a look. It's really quite unique. It's
beautiful.
You've got all these little caves and that along there. It's really, really beautiful.
What a tremendous, tremendous piece of wilderness, though.
Yeah.
Just fabulous.
Yeah.
What's with the clearing up here?
Oh, okay. Glad you asked about that, because that's Aboriginal people tell me that where there's no trees growing there, the reason there's no trees growing is because the area has been trampled systematically over many thousands of years as they used that as a dancing area.
No kidding. Could it have been a village or something?
Aboriginals didn't really have a village, okay? They moved around a lot.
They were nomadic, obviously.
Not quite nomadic, they lived in a specific area. Like the Guringai people lived in this area, which is, what, about 40,000 acres. We know that because we can see evidence of it.
But they moved around it?
Oh yeah, they moved around it. As they never actually farmed. in the European sense, but they lived off the land systematically, so it still continued to support itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
This is fabulous.
Yeah.
Great country you got here, mate.
Yeah.
Great country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, okay, and this is
That is impressive looking.
yeah, this is an example of some of the Aboriginal art, and it's very old. A lot of this art hasn't actually been dated because there's so much art in the New South Wales area. And in this instance, this particular art here relates to their main spirit, Biami, who was their god.
Okay.
And Biami came down out of the skies, and he created the whole world as we know it,
Okay.
or as the Aboriginal people know it.
Were there only special people that could actually do the paintings, or was there anybody who had a bit of an artistic flair?
No, particularly paintings of this size were done by elders, initiated people.
Okay.
Now, the initiation ceremonies were something that carried on right through life.
Okay.
Around it, you'll notice some stencil art. Some of it, as you can see, is a lot older than other art, and it was at the time of different ceremonies. They were putting some sort of form to show people that they'd been here. And it may not have just been one tribe, it could have been other tribes as they wandered through an area. So, I mean, all of this art, all of their beliefs around Australia, which is quite a large continent, all the stories relate to each other, and they all have a piece to do with another one. And it's like a storyline that goes right around the country. But the ceremonial stories, they don't want to tell white people.
Okay.
So
it's still a secret, very much a secret. We really don't have the key to all of the art that's around. And this stuff is spread all over the country.
all over the country, yeah, in different forms. Some of it looks a lot different from one area to another.
Well, at the sake of sounding corny, why don't we continue our walkabout?
Well, why don't we?
And see some more.
Yeah, we should do that. Okay.
This episode of the Outdoor Journal took us literally halfway around the world to the land down under, Australia. Often referred to as the island continent, Australia lies between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Of similar size to the United States, excluding Alaska, Australia is inhabited by some 18 million people, making it one of the least populated nations on Earth. Our flight destination, Sydney, the capital city of New South Wales, via Qantas, the Australian airline. Australia is a year-round travel destination. But remember, Australia's seasons are opposite to those of the Northern Hemisphere. Spring, September to November, summer, December to February, fall, March to May, and winter, June to August. A valid passport or certificate of identification is required for everyone wishing to enter Australia. Coming up, how to do the didgeridoo in the Australian outback. And now, back to the Outdoor Journal. It's estimated that the landmass we know as Australia broke away from the original supercontinent of Gondwana over 150 million years ago. And here, in Karinga National Park, there still remains evidence of this prehistoric isolation.
Oh, Ange, let me just tell you about this plant here.
Oh,
this
that looks like a fern.
Well, it looks a bit like a palm, actually.
All right, looks like a fern to me. How's that?
Okay, it's the oldest plant on the planet, this one. It goes right back to the days of Gondwana land, when Australia and New Zealand and Antarctica all fitted up into that ocean that's now between India and Africa.
Okay.
The Aboriginal people knew it as a burrawang, and the burrawang plant grows a little fruit. Now, if you were to eat that fruit right off the plant, it's actually very poisonous and would most likely kill you. So the Aboriginal people actually found a way that they could use it as a food source, though. And what they'd do is they'd slice it all up, and they'd beat it and wash it several times, then they'd roast it over a fire, and then they'd grind it up into a powder, and then they'd be able to make breads and dumplings and thickened sauces, that sort of thing.
Obviously, necessity, the invention. Now, why, you have to sort of try to, why would they go to all that trouble?
Well, there's so little to eat in an area like this. It's so dry most of the time, and there's just not too many food sources, so they had to look for every possible way that they could sustain themselves.
Wild. Trial and error, obviously. They
I guess that would have been, yeah.
Lost a few trying to get that one right.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, keep me in the straight and narrow. If I try and eat anything, you can point it
I'll
out
watch
to
out for you. Come on through here, Ange.
Don, I couldn't help but notice that most, if not all, the trees have got burn marks on them like this.
Like this here, yeah.
Little ones, big ones?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Okay, that's a result of thousands of years the Aboriginals have periodically burnt the land, and that's to protect the land so you don't get a build-up.
Intentionally burned it?
Yeah.
The forest?
The forest. But what they do is they burn it at the right time of year, so it would only burn the undergrowth. But the trees have evolved to be able to be burnt like this.
So they don't die?
They don't die, no.
And what was the whole reason for this?
Okay, it was part of caring for the land, so you don't get too much build-up of the undergrowth, which is the fuel for a major fire. So it also provides new growth for animals to come in so they can hunt them.
So they were managing the woods or the forest back 10,000 years ago?
They were the guardians of the land.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Show me more, my friend.
Okay, come on through here.
Boy, it's thick down here.
Oh yeah, man, I'll tell you what, you know, Aboriginal people used to be in this area. They used to live in this area, and they'd perform ceremonies from time to time.
So the park was actually built around, as opposed to around. I mean, there was actually people living here at one point, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. People used to wander through this area as part of their whole living process. And so they would be living in this area and using this for particular things. And we've been saving up something really special for you, so we can really show you what Aboriginal people could have been like here in years gone by.
I can't imagine anything being more special than what I've seen here through this park. This is fabulous.
Well, I hope that you think this is even more special for you.
Wow.
How's that?
What's he doing here, Doc?
Okay, well, as you can see, Ange, that the dancers are actually showing you something. They're actually showing you movements of various types of animals, and obviously...
That's a kangaroo, right?
That is, yeah.
Well, this one here is definitely a snake.
Yeah, that's it. It is.
Now, it looks like they're just sort of doing it at will, at random, but this is all sort of predetermined.
Oh, yeah, and what they're listening to is they're listening to the didgeridoo, and they're taking their lead off the sound of the didgeridoo.
Oh, so they're actually taking lead?
Oh, yeah. And they just know that the different sounds of the didgeridoo are actually telling them what they should be. That guy there at the moment, he's being an emu.
Now, Don, does the paint mean anything? I noticed they've got all that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. They're painted differently from each other. And that sort of designates where they are in the community. And the painting is something that changes as they go through life as part of their whole initiation process. And that's their position in the community. And also it signifies the different types of animals that they're depicting.
How did they learn all this stuff? I mean, if you say that this culture was not a written culture, there was no...
No, that's right. Well, this is something that's handed down. This is the cultural side of the Aboriginals, and it's handed down from generation to generation by the initiation process. good, isn't it? Eh?
That is too much.
Yeah.
Woo!
It is good, eh?
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Now, you wanted me to try my hand at...
Well, Brendan's a really good coach at teaching people to play the didgeridoo. And if you'd like, I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
I'd love to give it
What do you think,
a
Brendan?
shot, but I can't promise anything. But
Well, you can try.
that sounds like a sick wallaby, right?
But you really need to have
I think I will. It would take years of practice for me to make it sound like anything. Outdoor Journal in Australia. What else can I say? Thanks, guys. Can we do weddings and stuff maybe with this? Maybe, what do you think? That's right. Excellent.